What was? You don't feel you're valuable, that's why you don't go after your dream. You don't believe you're good enough, that's why you don't believe in yourself. If you can relate to that, that is a sign you have low self-worth. What's up, it's Gene, this word to be great. In this video, we're gonna talk about self-worth. And your self-worth is how much you value yourself. And I'm gonna give you 3 steps that will help you build your self-worth. 1, develop your own belief system. See, a lot of you guys, you're trying to live a life with the belief system of your parents, your teachers, or somebody else. And when you try to go after the goal or dream, and that belief system is contrary to it, then you find yourself giving up. You find yourself not taking action because you feel guilty. But if you want your dreams to become a reality, you have to develop a belief system that's going to support your dreams instead of one that's going to keep you from going after them. You see, when I was growing up, I developed a belief system that poverty is virtue. And one day I was having a conversation with a family member that made me realize I didn't have to live with this belief. So this family member asked me what I want to do in life. And I said I want to be wealthy. I want to be successful. And that individual said that those things are not virtuous. They're taken from God. You see, that was a religious belief that this individual had taught me. And because of that belief, it made me feel guilty because I wanted more. But then I made my mind up that I'm gonna have my own belief system. And I told that individual, I don't believe I should live a life of poverty. I don't believe I should live a life of suffering. Instead, I'm gonna go after things I want, either that person supported me or not. And because I had my own belief system and I took action on it, I was able to realize my goals. I was able to realize my dreams. And if you have something you want to do in life and you want to get that self-worth that's going to help you to go after that dream, you have to develop your own belief system, know that you're worthy to achieve everything that you desire. 2, have your own values and stand in those values. I remember years ago, I was substitute teaching at the school, and I always had a value that I am going to treat students fairly no matter what. It don't matter if they're black, white, gay, or straight, I'm not going to treat students with favoritism over others. And one day I was co-teaching this classroom with another teacher, and it was 2 students looking at something on the internet that they were not supposed to. And the teacher went over, she scolded them. And one student, she told him he could not get on the computer for 5 minutes. And then the other student, she said he cannot get on the computer for the rest of the week. And I remember looking at that and I said to myself, that is unfair. That was something that went against my values. And after that one student got his 5 minutes up, she let him get back on the computer. And she looked at me and she said, Gee, make sure that this student doesn't get on the computer for the rest of the week. And I said, no, I'm gonna wait for 5 minutes for him not to get on the computer, and then I'm gonna let him get on like you did with the other student. And that teacher and I got into it. She was so angry, she was frustrated because I wouldn't listen to her, and I explained to her, I have values. I value that one student should not be treated better than another student. I don't believe in showing favoritism. You see, that teacher liked one student over the other. She was showing favoritism to this student, but none to this one. And I wasn't gonna tolerate that, and I stood in my value. Because I stood in my value, the principal backed me up. Because I stood in my value, that kid did not get treated differently. And if you have your own values, they should not be subject to somebody else's opinion. You should stand in your values. And if you have people in your life that don't share your values, you're welcome to get them out your life. So you have to make sure that you have your own values and stand in those values, and that will help you start to build the self-worth necessary to go after your dreams. 3, don't let people take you for granted. See, a lot of y'all, the reason you have low self-worth is you trying to do everything for everybody else and you're not taking care of you. People are ignoring you, they take you for granted, so therefore you don't feel that you're worthy. You don't feel that you're good enough because you're allowing people to take you for granted instead of valuing yourself. Years ago, I used to work for this gym, and we was having a hard time selling personal training. And we had an assistant manager who had a game plan that wasn't working. So I went to the club manager, I said, listen man, I have a better way to sell this personal training. So we took my plan and we implemented it. And it just so happened, I wound up selling most of the personal training myself. Well, at the end of the month, the club manager was so excited, he invited us to his office. It was 5 of us on the staff, plus the assistant manager. We sat in his office, he was telling us how well we did this month, implementing the plan that I came up with, and then he pulled out a stack of money. He had a bunch of 5s, he had a bunch of 10s, and he had a couple hundreds. And he started counting it out, and it was $1,000. And I thought to myself, he was gonna share this money with the entire team. But instead, he slid the money to the assistant manager, and he said, when you all become an assistant manager like him, y'all be getting these type of bonuses. And I looked at that club manager, I said, first of all, I'm the one who wrote the game plan to sell a personal trainer. You should have spread that money out amongst the whole team. And he looked at me and said, Gene, that's not how that works. I said, well, I tell you what, I'm gonna put my 2 weeks in, and after that, I'm gone. You see, when I put that 2 weeks in, that club manager started talking to me. He was trying to get me to stay. But I had my mind made up. I'm not gonna be taken for granted. I'm not gonna be disrespected like that. And I moved on and I started a better career. And see, a lot of you guys out there, the reason you're not developing your self-worth is because you're being taken for granted. You're tolerating things when you know they're wrong. You're tolerating disrespect for people. And as long as you do that, you will never feel good about yourself. So I'm gonna encourage you, don't let people take you for granted. Value yourself, value your dreams. Know that you have something to bring to this world. Because when you value yourself and value who you are and not let people take you for granted, then you build a self-worth and start going after your dreams. So value yourself, value your dreams, go after with everything inside of you. Because you are worthy to be great.